this one is for Australia and New Zealand and the Malaysia volunteers to join with us on YouTube on live, and for the Zoom meeting, please turn on your video, then we can see each other and say hello to everyone. Australia and New Zealand and the Malaysia volunteers to join with us on YouTube. And at first, we start to have these training classes because we think that except our monthly training classes, we want to enrich our charity home visiting principle and the skills. So we contact the religious affairs office, Sister Toling, and then the development charity office to discuss this one, this class. And then we have scheduled a few classes, a few sections, and we set up a technical team and a translation team. And today we are very happy to invite Chen Jiming brother. He is working in our charity mission for about 13 years, and he is a recognized social worker in Taiwan. And this is he is very busy scheduled, but he's leaving some of his spare time to help us to learn more of the principle and skills. Then today, hope that everybody can enjoy the class. We will have some rules. Please cooperate. Then please pay full attention to these rules for the Australian and New Zealand volunteers. Please sign in online using this QR code. Then please Zoom volunteer, please rename your name in the participant and start with the site and your name. Then after the class starts, please turn off all your video because it will affect the video quality and heavier network load. For the microphone, please, during the class, please mute all your microphone. If you want to ask a question, please get permission from the speaker first. And for the material, class material, we will be accessible. This is all internal training. Please ask your home visit group coordinator for all the material. And we will stress that all the material for the share internally, not external. Thank you very much. Then we will have the feedback. Please fill in your feedback in the QR code as well. Thank you very much. When we start our class, please have the central bow to the Buddha. Please stand up and palm together. And facing front. And 3 bows, 1 bow. Second bow. Third bow. A little for, thank you, Ganan. Please sit down. Now we pass it to our natural brother Chen Jiming.
Master Zhen Yan and the nuns in the abode, Australia, New Zealand, and all the volunteers in the world, good morning. I was very delighted to have this opportunity to share online this class with you. If you have listened to this class before, then you can just treat it as a revision. But if this is the first time that you have listen to this class. I hope my experience will help you in your charity work. My name is Chen Ziming, and my Dharma name is Tzu. I started from Tzu Chi. I have been working in Tzu Chi for 13 years now. There's actually 5 classes for this charity. You can see the topics of all these 5 classes. So these topics I actually compiled through my experience in doing Tzu Chi, what I learned as well, and some of my own experiences. So I collated all this information and put it together to help our volunteers with charity work. So we're very happy that we have so many volunteers participating in this. At the same time, we would like to also thank all those cases, because not only because of their suffering, we were able to learn a lot more. June dates have been confirmed. In July, we will have to confirm the dates and let everyone know. Before the class begin, when we do charity work, we are concentrated on understanding suffering. The suffering that they have suffered is a lesson for us and is a way for us to cultivate our Dharma. So when we're doing charity, I feel that we need to have empathy, we need to have gratitude, we need to have a heart of equality to treat these cases. Now in the society, there are so many cases. There's a lot of complexity in every single person's stories. So while doing these cases, we may meet a lot of challenges. So we need to be resilient in this process so that we can actually overcome the challenges. When we're doing charity work, Master Zhen Yan wants us to cultivate our Dharma and increase our wisdom, and not to just be concentrated on doing as many cases as possible and therefore causing our own suffering. So during this Dharma cultivate this voluntary path, we need to constantly remind ourselves, self-reflect, and realign to make sure that we are still cultivating on the core values of compassion and increasing our wisdom. The topic I would like to share today is actually from my own personal experience. I hope with my experience, you can take it to your country and your local area to find a way to do charity work. And I know every single charity, every single country will have their specialties. So I'm talking here about the core values of class. There are 6 agendas in my class, which you can see on the PowerPoint. And I hope through my explanation, you will be able to understand the class. Some topics I may not be able to dwell in deeper, and so I hope you guys will be able to understand. You can see in this photo, Master Zhen Yan was actually leading Tzu Chi volunteers to do home visits. We are going into our 50th 5th year, and our charity work have spread across over 100 countries in the world. Master reminds us that we need to be rooted in charity work. Why is rooting our core values in charity so important? So now I would like to show you this video. Tzu Chi within Buddhism is a charity organization where we walk into the community. We're not going into temples to actually recite Buddhism or sutras. We are actually using the sutra and we're using and putting it into action. This is what Tzu Chi people are supposed to be doing. In 1966, March 20th, in Taiwan's Hualien County, a little temple of Puming, Master Zhen wanted to make a wish, wanting to eradicate people, the community from suffering. This is the moment where Master Zhen led 30 housewives to start Tzu Chi. There was a lot of affinity with us and the Master Zhen, and so we wanted to do charity work. So we wanted to do charity work, and we spoke to Hualien people, and the Hualien people, local people, did not understand, because they thought you can't even survive yourself. How are you going to help other people? Master Zhen said that each one of us, we need to make sure that we do one extra child baby shoes, and when we sell the extra shoe, we'll be able to accumulate more money to help charity. Each shoe was $4, and in 1 month it was $720. So this is how Tzu Chi's charity work started. In 1 month, we had $700. In 1 year, we have over $8,000 or $9,000. This is my thinking. It's not just the 8,000 or 9,000 people. It's $8,000 is enough. I wish that I want over 500 people, which is 1,000 hand bodhisattva. So if we've had 500 people that come together, then we'll definitely have 1,000 hands. If 500 people put out their hands, it's 1,000 hands. If 500 people had the same vision, had the same love and compassion, then isn't that one bodhisattva's effort? One bodhisattva has 1,000 hands. So 30 housewives started the Bamboo Bank series. So within our own suffering, within our poverty, we were able to find a path to charity. So we started in Hualien County, and we looked after a old person who came from China. Mrs. Lin was our first case. Tzu Chi's charity work has always been at the forefront of modernity, looking at what is happening in the current news and helping people at that particular moment. Tzu Chi's first case, Mrs. Lin, was actually influenced by the community and what's happening in the society. And because of Tzu Chi, she had that hope to actually change her life around. Now, it is sickness. Sickness there was one 30-year-old madam. Her husband is a part-time worker. Her eyes, she had an eye issue. So 30 years ago, having this issue in the eyes is actually very difficult, especially those who are already in poverty. In poverty families, when there is only a little issue in your health, they will, because of they don't have money, they couldn't afford, so they will leave their sickness until it's too serious. So I was thinking at that time, if we can give them just 1,000 or 10,000% of hope, then we should do it. So Master Zhen said she has children as well. So we must be able to pay for her medical expenses. It was around $5,000 that day. Therefore, we wanted to be able to allow her to take care of her family. So Master Zhen never thought about money. It's not about how much you have and then you do how much. It's all about what is needed in the society, and therefore we find the money to help that particular person. Or so she went into surgery and she stayed in hospital for a few days. So I asked her, "Can you see us?" She said, "I still can't see very clearly." And then I spoke to the doctor. She said, "We left her too late. So this is the best at that. That's the best that she could do." And so I was very disappointed about the results of the surgery. After a year, this case, she actually committed suicide. When I received this case, I was so overwhelmed because she felt like she was actually dragging her husband behind, making her husband work harder. Therefore, she decided to take her life to make it easier financially for the family. She wanted her husband to find someone that can actually see to actually help the family. So she committed suicide. When I heard about this, I was so disappointed and I was very distraught. From then on, our charity work we continued. Our commissioners, they must go and visit all these cases. Or even once every 3 months, we must continually take care of our home visit cases. So from then to now, it has never stopped. So through that case, Master Zeng learned a lot about charity. At that time, Taiwan was starting to become more financially stable, but there were still many people that needed help. So Master Zeng led the community Taiwan to cultivate the compassion to increase their wisdom, so they can actually live a more meaningful life. So the direction of charity started from then. I will follow Master Zhen Yan to go and visit these home visits. Sometimes these cases are really bad. You can see flies are flying everywhere. There's sick people. There are people that are hungry. So we will have meetings and then we will try and help these people immediately. We actually didn't have that many people before. So Master Zhen Yan will actually go and visit all these cases by herself. Oh. And Master Zhen Yan, she is very mindful. So even to give people goods, clothing, she'll make sure that it's actually fitting in size. She won't allow clothes to be given to people where it doesn't fit them. So when we go and visit our home, they was also happy wearing their new clothing. Looking at people that are suffering, between you and I, we can't even believe that in the world there's actually so many people in suffering, or because we have never been in their shoes, although we hear a lot, but we actually cannot understand their suffering. So when I started the charity work, I walked into this type of environment and I saw so many of these families, and I kept thinking to myself, how can I really help this family to overcome their poverty, to come out of their poverty? So we seize the moment. How do I take care of the people that are in front of me? But how do I help them in the future? So we must have many people to continue this work. So we must have more people, more places to help. So I kept thinking, we kept walking. Whilst we cultivate our charity path, we will continue to change the way we do things to make it better. So we thank you, Master Zhen Yan, for her teaching. In my experience, sometimes we are clouded by our own perceptions and are clouded by our own experience. So because of this, I feel like my heart and my mind becomes more ruthless or stern. So how did Master Zhen Yan start this charity? And how to make this charity work, expand this charity work to help more people? So hearing this, I feel so touched. So this also reminds me that I must go back to the values of compassion, and by continuing reminding us about the compassion, we'll actually become more empathetic. So what Master Zhen Yan said, we need to make sure we continue to remind us our core values. And by reminding our core values, we'll be able to help ourselves gain more wisdom to help more people and actually not bring us more suffering. So there are 4 points that I've come up with for this video. So the first point is the concept of humanistic Buddhism. So we need to go into the community, cultivate the path in community. Master Zhen Yan said that if you listen about all these people that are in suffering, you'll never understand You only understand when you actually go and see and help these people. So Tzu Chi's humanistic Buddhism practice is not just about reciting the sutta, it's about putting it into action. So our core value is to relieve people from suffering. When we first started, when Tzu Chi first started, even getting people to donate money was very hard because everyone was very poor. So from the the nuns in the abode actually sewed additional baby shoes to sell, and through the profits of the selling, they're actually able to help other people. So from Taiwan to the world, we must maintain this core value of what we should cultivate in ourselves to help other people. Actually, doing Tzu Chi work or charity work, you will definitely face a lot of challenges. And how can we overcome these challenges? So, like the case of that lady who was doing the eye surgery, through this case, we were able to learn a lot more. She was able to learn a lot more and therefore come up with a different strategy in terms of our charity work. So, in our own local areas, we must think about what we can do in our countries, in amongst the different culture and different languages. How can we build a charity work that can actually be localized, a system that can benefit the local people? So we must think about this as well. So the fourth point is all about how can we continue the Dharma, learning the Dharma. So how can we actually influence more people to also come and do charity work? So the future of the people, the future of the people that are suffering, we must have volunteers to take over to continue that compassion. So we must root ourselves in charity and charity work. So there is a very strong meaning and value in our Tzu Chi charity work. So the charity concept is that we are helping the poor to actually educate the rich and teaching the rich to help the poor. So we're actually wanting to develop people's compassion. And through developing your compassion, you live a more meaningful life. So when we're actually, because we are living in a better, more luxuriously, when we're going to help people that are in suffering, we need to remind ourselves the educational value that are coming out of doing this charity work. And as Tzu Chi volunteers, we need to make sure we speak to more of our friends so they can also be involved to helping people. So in our charity work, we have these five concepts: directness, priority, respect, practically, and timeliness. And so these are the rules that govern how we do our charity. So we need to make sure that we actually give what they actually need. We actually are timely in terms of our help. So we also need to cultivate our own respect for our cases. So these 5 things are very important. Okay, so this is some of our processes that we have for charity. So of course, we go in, we report the case. We must visit and talk to the cases. We'll have a team assessment. How can we help them? And then therefore, after our discussion, we will have an action that will come out of our team assessment and team meeting. Even after the results come out, we need to continue to take care of these cases. And so this is like a cycle. If you know charity, if you do charity cases, you actually will know that it doesn't take just one meeting to understand these home cases. So you actually need to continue to visit them because each person's story has its own complexity and they may not share everything in the beginning. So we should continue to cultivate this relationship. So after this constant care, there could be some cases that we stopped helping, uh, but sometimes even after we stop helping them, maybe financially, it doesn't mean that we stop caring for the case. A lot of the cases, it's that you would continue to keep that relationship open. So a big uh, an important thing when doing charity work is about uh, building the affinity. Yeah, building affinity with all uh, cases and all volunteers. But building this affinity is not about just having good friends or bribing the other person to be nice to you or just be nice to people. They actually need some wisdom that needs to come to play, which I will discuss a little bit later. When we are introducing new volunteers to do these visits of home cases, we must remind ourselves that we need to be self disciplined at the same time so that we actually give these new volunteers a correct direction and a correct role model for them to continue the charity work. So our um, So into this charity work is not just about helping them from that particular situation. It's actually also about cultivating our cases' hearts, and so they can actually stand up to become strong people that can also come and help other people as well. Master Zhen said, "There's so this what you see on the PowerPoint is what Master Zhen has said." So from this, we from what Master Zheng has said in this PowerPoint, we developed the charity arm of Tzu Chi. Tzu Chi, we operate in a group, so we actually have some rules that are in place. Before we start and to go to see cases, we need to do some preparation. So the first thing is we need to set up a meeting time. And this meeting time needs to be convenient for both parties. We need a team. We need a team of at least 3 people to go and visit. I will recommend 5 people be the maximum for one visit. But there are some cases that they may like people to come and visit, so you can have a little bit more people. But we have a rule to say that we should have a minimum of 3. And why do we have 3? It's actually a safety precaution for all volunteers. Yeah, so 3 people, you can help each other. You should never go alone. So if you have 3 people that go, 3 people may see all different perspectives. So therefore, you will have a good opportunity to talk to one another about the cases and therefore come up with the best plan to help. So we must help our new volunteers and educate them and train them so they can also continue and to love doing charity work. So another thing is that we must be organized. So it means that before we go to the cases, we must ensure that we have all the information already prepared. And also, we don't want to be trying to do as many cases in one day, but we actually we do it in more detail. So instead of spending 20 minutes in one case, you can actually spend a longer time. So we must understand the background and the history of the cases, so then that we know what we should be talking about or what we should be avoiding. Is there anything that is special about this case that we need to be mindful of? And so we can go there understanding the case thoroughly rather than under, trying to understand on the spot. So we must not leave not understanding the case, and then when we come back, we'll have meaningless conversations. We should understand the case, then we'll actually get the most information when we visit, and when we come back, we'll have a very meaningful discussion. It's important that in your group, in your team, that you divide the tasks. So before we leave to go to these cases, we should know what tasks need to be done, and we should divide the tasks so that when we come back, we can actually discuss meaningfully what we have found out from the cases. So not only are we mindful on just the case itself, but we also need to be mindful of our own safety as well. So from crossing the road, we must cross the road safely. When we're driving, we must drive safely as well. So when we understand our cases, some cases may have history of violence or some history of criminal activity or something like that. So before we leave, we must understand and have a debriefing so that we can keep ourselves safe. Okay, we'll now watch this video. Oh, the doll is so cute. Dad and mom will always love you. Hey, daughter, call dad. Why am I calling this person dad? I don't want to. Why don't you want to call dad? Is it because I'm not my mom and dad's daughter? Her eyes and ears. Is he my biological father? Oh my god. Please go and call dad.
妹妹叫爸爸，叫爸爸。他是谁呀？为什么要我叫爸爸
Thank you for taking care of me, Grandma and Grandpa. Thank you, Mom, for taking care of me. Dad!
听妈妈的话叫爸爸呀。
Are you crazy? I told you to go and get Dad, not to call him Dad.
爷爷奶奶的照顾，谢谢妈妈多年的养育之恩。
Thank you, Mom, for taking care of me. Dad! So from this joking video, we can actually learn a lot. So in our daily life, maybe could we be like this, the little girl in the video? So we actually listen to words, but we actually don't get the full meaning. So this video is actually reminding us that when we're talking to our cases, are we listening carefully to our cases, and whatever they're trying to tell us, we're actually understanding the real meaning. Because if we misunderstand, then we actually could influence our results and how we help the person. So it's very important. And Master always reminds us that when we're doing these cases, we must be mindful, be very mindful. So when we go to visit these cases, we need to cultivate ourselves to treat them like our own family. So we go and try and help. When we go help them, when we actually become more empathetic rather than sympathetic. So how do we empathize with these cases and put our feet in their shoes? And why would they say things? Why would they do that particular action? Because there could be many reasons behind it. So sometimes I have experience when we go to a case and then they may be the case may be not very kind, and they could be very rude. So sometimes we may think that we're trying to come and help you. Why are you so arrogant? But sometimes you don't know the story behind this case. So we must look at it from a different perspective. Why would this person have this arrogance? Why would they say the word like this? And after you know the background and change your perspective and understanding on this particular case, you may find out that maybe they come from an industry where they have to speak like that. Maybe it's just the person's habit. So just because of that, we cannot determine the results of how we help this person based on the person's personality. So we must keep this in mind so then we can actually do a better job. Whilst we're in conversation, we need to know beforehand what are the information we need, so we can actually get the information that we require to help this person. So whilst we're in conversation, we must be more open in our discussion. So when you ask questions and you only get a yes or no answer, this is probably not a very good answer. So for example, you will ask, have you eaten yet? It's yes or no. But instead of using that question, you just said, oh, what did you have for lunch? From the answer, you will actually get a lot more information. Whether they are actually eating well or they're not eating so well. So make sure that when you're asking the questions and having the conversation that you keep the answers and questions open-ended so that they can actually provide you with more information. So we shouldn't get distracted, and then we need to be able to help them at that particular moment. We need to also look at what are the positives of this case. Sometimes we may meet some cases that will provide us with a lot of challenges. And maybe some of these cases, you may feel like they're lying to you. But we should also look at the positive. So then from that, we should also help them to overcome maybe their lies or something like that. So we're also helping the person, not just their financial difficulty or their current difficulty. So Master Zhen always says that in a cup, a chipped cup, when you look at the other side, it's still a perfect cup. So of course, at the finally, it's all about sincerity, and of course, our own respect as well as truthfulness is very important in terms of our reporting. So this is a cartoon. A rabbit was fishing. The first 2 days, he didn't get any so this story really tells us that sometimes when we want to give, we can't just give what we want to give someone, but we actually need to give something that the other person needs. So this story, this little cartoon is very meaningful for us and has a lot of educational value. So when we're speaking to other people, so these are the communication principles. So when we're talking to them, we need to be mindful. So this is teaching us that everyone has their personality and they have their need. So we need to think from the other person's perspective, so then we can actually find the best way to help. So this is something that we need to learn whilst we're doing charity work.
This is
We're checking tickets now.
checking the ticket. Yeah, please give the ticket to me. Excuse me, the GG station is the next one. No, this is the express one. We will not stop at the small station. Then how about that? My daughter needs to give it to a child. Can you help me? I can't help you. This is the rule. And I beg for you, and if you help me, you will have marry a very beautiful wife. Yeah, how about the next GG station? I asked the driver to drive a little bit slow, then you jump. But you have to be careful. After you jump, you have to continue to run. Then you will not fall down. Be careful. Jump. Continue to run, continue to run, continue to run. Continue to run. Oh, Apple, it's lucky that you meet me. If not, you will miss this train. Yeah, during this video, every time when I have it, a lot of brother and sister will have some feedback. Yeah, from this video, we need to put onto the other party's perspective to look at the things. Because sometimes when we help, this is not what they want. Because at the last of the video, this young man, maybe he doesn't know that the old lady is not need to go in the train. She needs to go away the train. Of course, it will not be happen in this real world for the old lady to jump off the train, but this is just an example. At the moment, you can see that this picture. They always ask brother and sister, what can they see? And some people, they say that they will see that there is the cup. Then some people say that they see one old man and one old lady. And the others say that they will have some people, they are playing the guitar. And they can see that a young girl from the right-hand side will come out. Then sometimes when I ask the people say that some of them, they can see more. Some of them, they can see less. Then we are talking about after the home visiting, we have to have the team meeting, team discussion. We need to have the agreement. This discussion need to close to the case, and we need to discuss and analyze, and we need to learn to keep the learning attitude and more communication, just like we talked about before. Everyone is seeing different things, because maybe our knowledge and maybe our ability is different. So we need to integrate everybody's wisdom to set up a very good plan to help this case. And this plan needs to be logical and need to be practical. Then always I hear from the teacher, the teacher said that we are very strict. We are not looking different from the other side. Then we have to follow the team guideline, and this is not encourageable to fundraise privately. This is not suitable to have fundraising privately. Why we cannot do it? Because because we fundraise to our member, because they said that we have the donation every month. We help the people in hardship as well. Why the brother and sister need to give extra money to help this particular family. So they will worry about that. The second one is inside this team, because everyone's financial situation is different. We don't want the extra money will have the extra difficulty for the some of the brother and sister. So we hope that everything we have to go back to the team to discuss, and then we have the agreement, and then we help the family in need. We hope that we will do it a little bit better and better. Then we need to keep a very full record, and because this is the accumulation of our history. We need to do it at that day after the home visiting, or one day, or 2 days later. We need to finish it within 1 week, because it will not miss any points. Because when we go to home visiting, we spend our time, and then we listen very carefully, and then we have our discussion. Then after that, if we don't have very complete record or report, so it is really, really not really good, because this report is for our later on. We can do the review, or when we go back to this case, we can know that what we have helped them in this family. And maybe this case can be the teaching material for the volunteers later, to teach them how to do the home visiting. If we have the video or the pictures, we can have the record about the history of love. Then after we talk about the agreement and our discussion, we are going back to during the conversation, then some reminding. How can we listen, and how can we do it? The first one, we have to look at the purpose of the home visiting. And what is the purpose? The purpose is we have to know more about these clients and about their feeling. We want to find a very good way to help them. But under this purpose, we need to have them to willing to share of the more of the story. Then we know that we can have the solution. If they don't have share most of the feeling or situation, we cannot fulfill our purpose. We always hear about the empathy. Then empathy is the communication technique that we can guide the clients to is willing to share more. Then we always say that during the home visiting, we need to use the empathy. We will not talk about a lot of empathy technique. We just want to know our purpose, because we want to know more of the situation, more of the feeling. Then we know how can we accumulate the love, and this is the method. This is one of the methods we're using. Under the technique of this empathy, and then a simple technique is sincere, and then listen carefully, and then speak skillfully. And then when we listen, when we understand, when we know that the situation, we need to joining and tuning into the situation, and tuning in the feelings. Then during the home visiting, our clients will feel that if we are sincere, during our willing to listen to them attentively, or want to listen to them, or want to speak skillful to them. When we talk, do you have the experience when we talk to the other person, when they understand, they will have the response. It means that they understand. This is the feeling that the other party understand what we said. Then they are willing to, if they understand, they will willing to continue to speak. If we don't understand them, they will feel that, oh, this is not good to talk more. And we go to the listening. Attentively is very important. We have to listen to the fact. This is the language. And the other one is the another listen to the feeling. The feeling is non-verbal behavior. When they speak with the language, then we just listen, except listening to the fact by language. We have to pay more attention to the body language. This is non-verbal behavior. I have an example. Just a few years ago, there's a care for one family that is the sick father. He come to see me. He told me that he's after he divorced and to become a single father, and then he look after the children and sick and no income. Then during this, his path is not easy. When I listen to his story, I can see his behavior, see his attitude, see his nonverbal conversation. I can see his hardship, a lot of failure. I'm very tired and a lot of distress. This is when he is describe his situation. I can see from his facial attitude, facial depression. I can see that his later on his children can go can be encouraged to grow. I tell him that the children will grow up later. Then I reflect that this wording is not good. It's not bad, but not really good. Just a comfort. But I cannot really join into the situation and into his feeling. I can hear that his it's not very easy for him for this so many years to work through all his hardship. Then I put my hand onto his shoulder and I encourage him. I said that it is very happy that you talk to me. It is not easy for you. At that time, I'm not speaking so much. But I found that this kind of wording that I comfort him, I reflect that is more effective. And later on, when he come to the Tzu Chi chapter, when he see me, I always say, thank you. Then I'm really touched by this story. And I can see that when I listen carefully and then observe the non-verbal conversation is so important. Then later on, I try my very best to listen more attentively and then comfort the other people more effectively. When I speak, and then how can we speak? Then we speak that when the people feel that are warmth, then feel that we close to, and then we care them. And then they can feel that you understand what, understand the fact, the things that they talk to you, and understand the feelings, because you are joining into, you can tuning into the feelings and their story. Yesterday I heard a story about a person that is he had to cut his leg, one of his leg. He talked to us that he want to kill himself to jump from the building, because he just have only one leg. He has don't have enough effort to do that. Then the sister have the response that you better not to do that. Of course, this is one of the methods to comfort him. But what I do is I touch his hand, and I said that I understand what is your feeling. This is really distressful at that time. I use this method to respond. And then he starts to tell us why he wants to kill himself, why he wants to jump from the building, and what kind of situation, what kind of hardship he's coming across. Then I share with you the following picture. How can we listen to the fact? Then using the emphatic will, I am still learning. I reflect that I cannot listen very, although I'm listen very, very carefully, but sometimes I cannot listen very, very, very understand the whole thing. I need to think, and I have a lot of time I have to reflect. What is my reaction? What is the other party say? What did they say? What did they care for? What did they worry about? What did they hear? What did they see? What is the situation? How can they speak to the other people? What did they do? This is the story. This is all the structure of the story. I will reflect all these questions during my home visiting. Does he have any difficulties? Is he worry about something? Any fear? And behind this feeling, does he want to tell me something that is his request, and what does he need? Yeah, this is the picture that remind us how we do during this home visiting. Because a lot of time we are not responding very good during the visit, but we can use this picture to remind ourselves. Then look at this emotion. This is emotion. You can find it from the YouTube online, from the internet. And then we can see a lot of emotion. We can know more feelings that the other people have. Then we can feel that. Maybe it is easier for us to respond to the people have this kind of feeling. I have a story to share. This a few years ago. That's about this father. The single father, if what kind of emotion that he have. If I know that his emotions, maybe I can help him more effectively using empathy. If I I reflect that if we know some of this emotion when we respond during the home visiting, it will be very good for the other. Then they know that we understand their emotion. I have another example. Then what to say is better. How to say is better. More important than what to say. This is the single mother. She told me that last month I had 3 interviews, 3 jobs. I didn't receive any response. What can I do? Then the first one, then how about you don't interview more jobs? Then she will feel that it is brain, and this is she's distressed and she's angry and she's questioned. Then how about we feel about that? This why you don't not? How about this don't? Is it just like you bring her, you question her, she will feel that very distressed because she is very hardworking. Why you talk this talk to me like this? She will be very angry. You don't understand me. You don't understand how much a lot of hardship when I go to interview, go to find a job. She will think about that. How about B? Then we always will use this. You have to cheer up because of son is so small. You are his everything. This lead, and the other party will feel that this is ordered. This is brain, and this is match. This is pressure, and this is distress because I am working very hard. I try my very best, but you're still blaming me. You're still ordering me. It means that it is not worth. It's not enough. Then how about the C? C is more emphatic, and we can understand the feeling. How can we say that? If you have no income and then you have no job, then you will have no income. You will be very worried, and then you will be so difficult for you. Then she feel that she's understand. Then she continue to talk more. She will ask, at last, what can I do? When hear that she is very worried, she is very worried because she don't know what she can do because she has no money, she have no job. And I will tell her that it will give you a lot of worry. It will worry you a lot. Then she will feel that she's understand. She will say that, oh yes, I worry so much. Because we have to use money all the time. I don't know what to do. Then we can talk to her more. Then how about when you go to find a job? Is it what kind of difficulties you come across? What kind of job you are looking for? Then maybe she will assess this, and then we can give her some help. Then Master always say that we need to listen more and speak less. This is the lifestyle. If we speak good words, this is better than to speak less than speak more. Better to speak good words than speak more. Because when we speak less, we can listen more of what the other people say. And then it is better for us to speak more good words. I always share with brother and sister, although sometimes we cannot do that, but this is our wish. we better during the home visiting, we expect that everybody can hear 80% and use 20% to speak good words. I think this is a very good guide for our home visiting. Then after our assisting for this family for a while, then we need to think about the terminate. And then there is some forms of termination of the case and some preparation. And there is two. One is non-predictable. One is predictable. Non-predictable is maybe someone pass away after 1 day after our home visiting. And maybe he is living alone, and we will ask why he is disappeared. Then the neighbor said that he passed away because, and so we have to terminate the case. And the second one is we lost the contact for no reason. And in the past, brother and sister will share with me, and some cases they will pass away or they lost contact. When we go there, then we know that they moved already. Because a lot of brother and sister they participate so much and they pay full attention on it, and they get very upset by this. And I always say to them, you need to give them some blessing. Blessing is very important. I have one picture at the background. There is some doves and flying from the cage to the sky. I can always feel that everybody need to be blessed. Then we talk about the predictable termination because some family, they are very stable, and so we can stop. And maybe some cases, this is this more than the team's ability to handle, so we cannot continue to do it. Of course, this is after all the discussion of the assessment. And there's some other special considerations. For the preparation for the termination of the case, we need to have some preparation. We need to have the team discussion. We need to have the confirm that this case is going to terminate, and we need to have an agreement. And we need to discuss, is it a suitable time to stop to care about this case? We need to have an agreement. And we set up a plan for that. We discussed that we stop this case or we continue to care for this case. If we decide to stop this case, to terminate this case, we have to find a very suitable time to talk to the clients about we are going to stop your case, and give them a timeline. And during this home visiting, we have tell them that what kind of advantages they are at the moment, why they are very stable at the moment, and they are quite good, and talk about this. They give them some confidence. Then they can feel that they improve a lot, and then they are stable on their lifestyle, and then so we can tell them that during 1 or 2 months later, we will stop your case, we'll terminate the case, give them the time to suitable for this during these 2 months, and we can assess and review again. Then during this timeline, both parties have the time to prepare for the termination. Or maybe later on we discuss again. Maybe we need another 2 or 3 months to terminate the case. That depends if they are stable or not. And this is number 2. We need to give them a very we need to give them the courses, Tzu Chi chapters, the contact. We give you the telephone number. Later on, if you want us to help you, you can contact us. But I have an experience. I hear from someone that then later on, maybe the this client they contact us. They may not need our help. Maybe they want to us to look at their achievement, just like the old friend, or maybe if they contact me, maybe they want to be a member if they're stable in their life, or maybe they want to be a volunteer. So later on, I will not say that. Later on, if you want us to help you, you can contact us. So later I will not talk about this one. I will say, if later on, if you want to find me, you can contact me. I will tell them that later on, if you stable on your life, it's more welcome for you to come to see us in the chapter. For the Tzu Chi, the termination of the case is not just only stop the case. We need to continue for our friendship or our relationship. And in the next topic, we talk about our self-protection, because we will face some kind of difficulties during our care of the other family. But it is really important for us because we will do it for a longer time. I remember at first when I serve in Tzu Chi, some senior volunteer tell me, just like when we go home visiting, just like we watch the TV, just like when we just like turn on the TV, because we will have some emotion, we will go inside the client's emotion. Just like when after the home visiting, we turn off the TV because we come back, we have to go back to our normal life. Then we have live peacefully so we can care for this family again later on. Then some brother and sister say that, Jimmy, you have to tell them more carefully. If I took at this example, some brother and sister will say, I haven't seen the clients for quite a long time. I don't need to discuss. When we discuss after the home visiting, we need to have a discussion. We need to discuss very carefully and very intensively. But after the discussion, we need to let go and go back to our own life. At the moment, a lot of people, a lot of forms of hardships. This includes economic, illness, education, and some mental problem. And at the moment, a lot of people have the mental illness. It's come from Master. Master say that we need to have a lot of wisdom to counsel them. And I find that it is very important for the self-protection, self-care. It is very important for us to look after ourselves. Because some cases, maybe we will put a lot of emotion on. Maybe it will, when we joining in, we will think about our past experiences and our emotions. When we accompany them, we will feel that a lot of worries, a lot of pressures, and we will, for my experience, better not to hold this kind of emotion. We need to find someone that we trust to talk, or the other relaxation methods to relieve this emotion. Because of this, we will have a very healthy physically and mentally. We will accompany all these kinds. Then when we accompany these clients, we need to be present here and now and listen to them and then talk skillfully. But after that, after our home visiting, after the discussion, we need to let go of everything. We need to go back to our own life. If we are the mother or father or the husband or wife, we need to go back to our role. And for the home visiting volunteers, we need to be accompanied and supported by our team. From my experience, when I go into our community, just like yesterday, there is a group of people. They share about the case. They accompany them for more than 10 years. They say that they cannot improve them. Then when I tell them that we want to stop the financial help, they this client, they do not have any gratitude. They just go away without any saying anything or any expression. Then after hearing about this story, this a lot of people attending yesterday's meeting, and when the small group to discuss about this case, and they say that during this 10 years accompany is very difficult. It's not easy to say, because during this 10 minutes discussion and use the very relaxing atmosphere to express about this story. I found that this yesterday's environment is very good. Although this only 10 minutes description of this case, I feel that teamwork is very important. Then we can see this picture. This has some English subtitle.
เขาจะได้อะไรถ้าเขาทำแบบนี้ทุกวันเขาจะไม่ได้อะไรเลยไม่ได้รวยขึ้นไม่ได้ออกทีวีไม่มีใครรู้จักไม่ได้มีชื่อเสียงที่มากขึ้น ราะสิ่งที่เขาได้แค่ความรู้สึกได้เห็นความสุขได้เข้าใจได้ความรักได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิมในชีวิตคุณอะไรคือสิ่งที่คุณต้องการมากที่สุด
ไทยประกันชีวิตเชื่อในความ
And
ดี
this video, when I see this video, I will feel that very touching and want to use this to encourage brother and sister because home visiting, because with this contribute a love and effort at time. It is it's a lot. It's like not famous hero. What can we get? What can we get from home visiting? We get the love and we get the empathy and we get more understanding. Then I want to share about this 5 homework because the clients are our teachers. Then we need to have compassion. And number 2, we need to practice empathy. We practice more of our listening and on our expressing. Of course, this needs practicing. We cannot do it the first time because our responding is very important to the clients. We need to listen carefully and we need to express very skillfully, to express our sincere. And the third one is teamwork. Teamwork is very important. And the next one is self-care. It's very important as well. The more important is the wisdom, because this is one school of cultivation. Then what we have to cultivate is our wisdom. It's not accumulating the worries, it's accumulate the love and wisdom. And Master said that while we are helping others, we are enriching our own tolerance, and then we practice our patience. And thank you very much for listening to me. This is my first time to share with you. Maybe in some words or some description is not very smooth. Hope that everyone can tolerate. I hope that this today's sharing to give you some idea and some principle of the home visiting. Thank you very much. Cảm ơn. Thank you, Brother Jiming's sharing, and thank you everybody attending this class. And for the volunteers who are in the Zoom, can you please open your video? Turn on your video, then we can see each other. Thank you, Brother Jiming, for this interesting sharing. I hope that everyone will get a lot of home visiting ideas. Hope that you can fill in the feedback form. Then in the next lecture, we will have more good material for us to learn. And please turn on your video, then we can see each other. And thank you for the Brother Jiming. And thank you, the people on the YouTube and the YouTube English channel. Today is more than 2,000 people, and in this diligent day. Thank you very much. Then remind everyone that can you please fill in the forms. One is the sign-in form that you are attending form. One is the feedback form. Thank you very much.